Hello, everyone. You are listening to the MSPoweruser podcast. This is the podcast for the Microsoft enthusiast and power user. We discuss the latest news from MSPoweruser.com about Microsoft, Windows, Surface, Xbox, Windows Mobile, and all of that stuff. My name is Vernon E.L. Smith. I'm joined as usual by Andy Bennett. Andy, what's up, buddy?
Well, I'm definitely not as tired as you are, it seems. Yeah, so, we're doing it live, and this is just a note for audio listeners. This was done live this week. Thanks to a ton of scheduling stuff, things got shifted here and there, but we're doing it here. We're live on YouTube, and it's going to be fun. We can't seem to get live chat working. I don't know why. I'm just going to blame Google for it, even though it might be an issue on my end, even though I keep enabling live chat and it says it's on when it's not.
So, Microsoft enthusiasts, you should let us know whether you prefer Google Hangouts and Google or YouTube Live to, well, I guess in many cases, the alternative that is non-existent on Microsoft's side. Skype obviously works for VoIP, and we appreciate, there's lots of value there, but it would be really, really awesome to have a streaming service, like this type of a streaming service from Microsoft. Of course, they did acquire the Twitch competitor. Who was that actually that they just acquired? Beam, that's right.
Yeah,
Beam.
that's focused on gaming though, and just for the record, the competitor to Hangouts from Skype, or rather Hangouts on Air, that might have been what Huddle was. As I broke that story a couple of months ago, and it was basically just an internal Microsoft site that seemed to be some sort of, they called it a video social network. Yeah. So you would think that would have to have something to do with something like this, right?
Yeah, a combination of Huddle and Beam, I think, could really work well. And of course, Skype for Business is fantastic anyway. And working, I think, combining all those technologies and the back-end stuff together could come up with something that competes with Google Hangouts and Google or YouTube Live. But that's probably not really where they're focusing their innovation, because it isn't necessarily one of their core businesses. Perhaps. Anyway.
All I know is that to any Microsoft employees out there listening, please, we're begging you.
Yes. Create something that's going to compete with Google Hangouts or Hangouts on Air. This is killing me already.
Yeah.
And I don't like using Google stuff, but even more so, I don't like using crappy Google stuff, and I am so...
When Google makes something good, it's really good, but when they make something that sucks, it really sucks.
Yeah. So, anyway, we didn't really intend to jump into that right away. Andy, how was your week, buddy?
Well, it's actually been really nice this week, aside from the fact that it's really hot and the air conditioner's just not exactly touchy, more of rather, you can't keep it running constantly because it's got some issues. So, yeah, I'm stuck in a very hot room right now.
Well, I have not had to have the AC on all week, which is odd because I was actually in Kansas City all week, where I normally need the AC every year that I go this week. And it was actually kind of chilly and, stormy there. And same thing in Fargo. It hasn't been too hot here lately, but this week has been rough on me. Left Monday, just got home last night, Thursday night, rather late, and it wasn't the pleasurable work trip that it often is, and that's with a bit of sarcasm there. So, but I'm back. You could probably tell I got a cold, a bad one that I'm still recovering from. I do feel just as bad as I sound, so I apologize.
Well, that sucks, man. Hope you get better.
And I got a full weekend here with the kids, and apparently the wife has volunteered us all for something that's, Lions Club, which is fine. Cool. Wonderful. Yeah. For those non-American listeners, Lions Club is, maybe Lions Club is overseas as well. Whatever. It's just a local charity.
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, the site's had some stuff going on today or this week. We're going to cover a lot of those stories, at least the highlights, and that is the whole point of this podcast. We want to get this out to you and share our opinions on it. There's plenty of opinions on the site in the articles. We've got a lot of great writers that dig in and share some good data and also some good opinion. But we know that some people like to hear some voices talking about it. Andy and I happen to be American, and our larger percentage of our audience is lives over in the States, and that's why we do the show. So what are we starting off with here, Andy?
Well,
It looks like it's actually me. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I have a Nokia. Well, not a Nokia. I have a Microsoft. It would used to be Nokia Lumia 950. Wow, Microsoft never used to be Nokia, and I like this phone. I've been running insider preview on it for a long time. Obviously, fast ring. And before I went on my work trip, I rolled it back to production or to stock 10.586. Excuse me. Because it was just starting to get a little creaky. It just wasn't perfect anymore. And so, and I was like, oh, dang it. I noticed that I did not have Panorama. That was at the beginning of the week. Well, halfway through the week, Panorama popped up in just an auto update, which was actually just to the app itself. So recently, the Panorama feature on Windows 10 Mobile, which is great, by the way, it truly is great. It works very well. The Panorama feature was pushed out to the release preview people in the insider ring, and then just recently it was pushed out within the app itself to everyone using Windows 10 Mobile. Now that is also everyone whose phone works or hardware supports that, which is, I think, all the newest generation ones. I think from 2015. I could be wrong on that. So, but Panorama is available. It's great feature on a great phone.
Yeah, Panorama is something that I remember that last time we talked about it. You said it was pretty much flawless.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to screw it up, but if you're familiar with taking a Panorama shot, just being, slow and deliberate, and also keeping it within the tracks, basically, it's really tough to screw it up. I have heard some people say that the iOS one you can go a little bit more, you can go more quickly with, and fair enough. I haven't really messed with the one on iOS in a little while. I should try that again, but. Actually, Microsoft has the Panorama feature in the Pix app for iOS, which is kind of interesting too. So, that's the whole point, to getting Microsoft services and things on mobile, even if it's not their own mobile devices.
Yeah, Microsoft's goal with mobile has been for a while, it seems like, to be a name on apps that people know and use.
Mm-hmm. That's how you get people started. Just keeping the awareness out there, proving that you're making decent product, decent services, and doing a good job with it, providing value to people, and that will increase the likelihood that someone using a MacBook or something will consider, whatever, a nice, like a Surface or a nice Windows machine as their upgrade, and so on and so forth. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Well, Windows 10 Mobile continues to increase, take a larger portion of the market share. The mobile, the Microsoft, how do I say this? Windows Phone is being overtaken by Windows 10 Mobile. That makes sense in two ways. Both the existing devices, say the Lumia 1520, for example, or the 930, getting rolled out, getting upgraded to Windows 10 Mobile, but also those older devices like a Nokia Lumia 520, for example, being retired and then overtaken, bought again, being replaced by a Lumia 650, which is not a bad phone. It looks great, and it's fine specs for the price. And so Windows 10 Mobile now claims 14% market share of the other of Windows mobile devices, Windows Phone and Windows mobile devices. That's great that we're progressing, just kind of like Windows 10, taking a larger portion of the Windows operating system market share. But also it means that it doesn't really mean that much because there's such a small market share right now of Windows Phone and Windows mobile devices. I don't know, whatever. It's just it's news, it's progress. It's still a little bit discouraging just knowing that there's not that many of those devices out there. Microsoft needs to step it up one way or the other.
Yeah. Either they need to start producing some more devices, in my opinion, because correct me if I'm wrong, but when Windows Phone was growing the most, Microsoft was putting out new devices regularly.
That is true. I will argue that they were putting out too many devices, especially on the low-end devices. So, like, there was the Lumia. 520 was a great phone. Its successor, the 525, not as much. They started trimming back the specs even more. The 520, for example, I think it still may have the highest market share of devices out there.
Oh, wow.
Or at least it did for a long time. It was very high. And Microsoft may have made a profit on that device, but not by much. They were being sold for $20, $30 for a long time. The Lumia 640, for example, was also a very high seller, especially in the US here.
Yeah, I think it's still a top seller among Windows Phone devices.
It's still selling well. It's not a bad phone, actually. It's very good, but I can't imagine Microsoft is really making that much money with it. And so it's twofold. You're putting out all these different devices, especially like the 630, 635. There was a 637 or something like that. I had never handled that one, but there was 637 or 633 or something, which was worthless, kind of. And they basically weren't. They were spending all this money on making different devices and really not making that money back, even though they were getting high numbers.
That's true.
And so it would, in my opinion, just make sense to focus on this enterprise and this flagship range and still have one good, like a 650, for example, that's out. Push that for a year, then have the 70 or 660, can't even say those words. Something like that, just rolling out every year. Make sure it's decent, but make it cheap enough to make, but still good enough for people to be satisfied with for a year or two. And so they've really flip-flopped with making. You're right. They had a decent market share, and they were putting out a ton of devices, but I can see how they may not have actually been very profitable doing that.
Yeah.
The other side to that is, are they trying to be profitable in mobile? And at this point, they basically have to rule that out, I think. I think it makes sense for them. If they're going to keep Windows 10 Mobile going, they have to treat it like Xbox or something that they know is going to lose money for a while. But it's basically just rounding out their what they have going on, their mobile strategy, just to show that these things that showcase the operating system, even if it's on a low device, but making a good low-end device proves to other OEMs that they can make a good low-end device, and OEMs could do something special with that and make a profit, hopefully.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. And I think for this next topic, I'll cover it so you can save your voice a bit.
Yes, please.
All right, so recently there's been some hubbub regarding the return of services like OneClip, and while this one is definitely not OneClip, it's apparently by a different team, as this is a Microsoft Garage app. And so, like all Garage apps, Windows Phone is left out in the cold, but this one is called Cache. And that's, CACHE. And you can find it at the Cache app, no spaces or anything, of course, .com. And it's currently in a private beta, I guess. The goal is very similar to OneClip. You bookmark everything in one place, just like it says on the site, and it's got a demo showing how you can save images, text, anything from your clipboard. You can store it in collections. And it's available on all your devices, except, maybe that fancy Windows phone you bought. But it's looking neat. One clip was something that I really wanted Microsoft to get back at, and apparently while they are getting back at it, I'm not totally sure what you'd call it in comparison, because it uses a very similar design to what OneClip's leaked mock-ups have had. So I don't really understand that, but
I can add to this a little bit. Right now, it is not. Well, I don't know anyone using it. It is in invite only. I haven't received the invite yet. David, my friend of mine, David, was very involved in this type of thing, and I don't think he has received the invite yet either. But he, to describe this, basically on the site, they basically said, this invite-only program is a research project to explore how people manage and curate the content they work with. We want to learn about the challenges you face today with digital content. You may also have the opportunity to try pre-release versions of Cache to help you better manage your content. So it is, private beta, obviously, but similar to maybe go in the direction of OneClip, also similar to OneNote, obviously, when it comes to compiling all your notes and things like that. So it will be very interesting to see this. So go to cacheapp.com.
Actually, it's not just Cache App. It is the Cache App.
Oh, wow. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. And anyways, it seems like this is currently available only on Windows and iPhone, so not even Android version is ready yet. It's, under the section on the homepage where it says have it everywhere, it says content you collect in cache is instantly available on your other devices, currently Windows and iPhones.
Okay. Well, when you sign up for it, it asks you which devices you prefer to use.
Yeah.
It gives you options of iOS, Android, Mac, web. It doesn't give you a Windows mobile option.
Yeah.
Which is really depressing.
I wonder if this is just like a sidestep to OneClip, like another team took some of the code or whatever, because it has the same design as the OneClip mock-ups that Zach Bowden put up, and it's almost identical. It even has the same title bar caption buttons, which include a button that snaps it to the side. It's like a very slim arrow snap right there in the title bar. So, yeah. It's interesting.
Maybe, it could just be a little bit of rebranding and a little bit of reconfiguring here. I don't know. Cache App just doesn't seem to be nearly in the Microsoft branding.
Well, it is. It's got the Microsoft logo and copyright 2016 Microsoft right at the bottom, but it's done by the Garage team, which does their experimental stuff on iPhones and Android.
But the word OneClip seems to be a lot more in line with Microsoft's branding. So I'm a little bit...
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I can talk about the next subject too, if you want.
Might as well go right to the last in the services there, and then I'll cap it with that one in the middle there.
Okay. Right. So, it seems that Bing has begun yet another A&B test, and this is one that will allow you to customize the Bing homepage. Previously, Bing had an A&B test where it was not totally a redesign of the homepage, but you would scroll down and get a Windows 8-like setup where it would show you news, weather, previous homepage images in a gallery. It was really nice looking. And while that one didn't go public, that one was a bit bigger of a design change than this is. This is one that if you're in this A&B test, it will tell you right on the page with a notification, hey, you can customize the Bing homepage now. And I'm only seeing this on one account, on one browser, so I'm certain it's not a rollout or anything. I would expect them to announce that too, if it was. Excuse me. Anyways, The customization options right now are pretty simple, pretty basic, and I think this is something that's going to be expanded upon soon. This is one where you're able to hide the menu bar, which just hides its background and the left items. The right items are still there, untouched, which does look a little weird. And also lets you hide news and interests at the bottom, which removes the bar with them and the arrow for it. And it's pretty simple stuff, but it's really nice changes, if you get what I mean.
See, I'm actually fine having all that extra stuff on there because even if it's news items, it's in topics that I prefer. You customize that, obviously. And having that image there is nice. Having the little tidbits on there is cool. And access right to my other Microsoft services, I'm fine with that. That's no problem. And all I need is the little page, is the search bar. And so the rest of that, if I need to, I just tune that out. I'm fine having all that stuff there. But options are always good. This is obviously a good thing.
And one thing that I definitely find interesting is that the changes here make it a bit more googly. Like, Google, they don't have homepage backgrounds anymore. I think it was, what was it called? iGoogle that lets you have that. And they shut that down a while ago, but looking at it without the menu bar, I definitely get some old iGoogle vibes, and that's not a bad thing. So I think it's just giving people more options, but might make it easier for someone to switch over from Google. I mean, not like it would make much of a difference, but for us at least. But there's some people out there who just can't handle even the smallest of changes. So
that's true. Well, speaking of Bing, just want to add, I got an email this morning just reminding me to log back into my Bing Distill account. Bing Distill is still a thing. Wow. And it's really interesting. There's not a lot of people using it. It hasn't been updated in a little while. But basically it's like, it's crowdsourcing different questions. And like, what's the best temperature for my refrigerator, things like that. And that's interesting, and it's still a great idea. You could still be part of that if you want. I know it's in beta. I think it's public.
Yeah. It didn't take long for me to join it, although that was over a year ago.
I think it's just interesting what Bing is doing, and they're trying things out even if they're not necessarily succeeding. Yeah, I guess that's worth mentioning.
Yeah, and it's a pretty nice service. From when I tried it, I originally heard it compared to Yahoo Answers, and it's not quite like that. You see questions people search for. Then you go in and respond to that question, and when someone searches that question again, there's the answer. People can then vote the answer up and down depending on its usefulness, but it's nice.
So you quite literally control what people do online.
Well, yeah, your answer has to be approved first.
Yes, of course.
But you do. I think the only one I did was what is the meaning of Advent candles or something like that. Let me take a look and see if I can see my mark forever etched into the web.
Nice.
I just typed cables instead of candles. Oh, yep. My answer's still there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Well, one thing we talked, it just came up. I think you must have mentioned it on Twitter or something. Office, OneNote, OneNote, part of Office, has the dark mode. It's been there for a while. And I've been using this for a while. It doesn't mean it's entirely dark. Did you just recently switch to this, Andy, or are you...
It was late at night. Lights were off because people were trying to sleep. And so I open up OneNote. My eyes are then nuked into the ether. I then attempt to rectify that, and I go in, I enable dark mode, and everything looks good except for 75% of the screen, which is still white.
It's still 25% darker.
It's 25% darker, but 75% of my screen is still a spotlight at midnight, which definitely not the optimal way to go.
With OneNote, I like the basically it darkens the ribbon and all the things around it and all that.
Yeah,
See, on a tab,
it looks nice, but I mean, just for late night usage, that was my issue with it. I use dark themes for late night usage, and I enable that, and I still have the equivalent of a flashlight app, basically.
yeah. See, on mobile, you can trim down the brightness on your device, obviously. Same thing with a tablet. You can reduce the brightness on there easily. But if you're using a desktop, there's really not a real easy way to do that, of course, unless you get right into the display settings on the
I've heard about
hardware.
a program called Flux, which automatically changes your display brightness. But the thing is, really, that I don't really... I mean, like, I've spent maybe 30 minutes at least configuring the brightness on this new monitor because it was a little screwy when I got it. So I'm definitely not touching that for a while, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, what's going on with Xbox this week, Andy?
Well, there's been a lot of big stuff and a little stuff. The big stuff's up first, though, with Cortana coming to new regions in last night's Xbox One preview build, which is today's build for those of you in Europe. It adds Cortana as an option in France, Italy, Germany, and Spain. Now, previously, if you were in these regions, you would have to use some workarounds or little tricks to get Cortana working, but hey guys, that's no longer the case. And this update also fixes a few minor bugs with how things worked, but Cortana is the star in the show here for those of you in previously mentioned France, Italy, Germany, or Spain. And Vernon, do you know if do you know if Cortana's been in these regions on other devices? Because I definitely do not.
I believe Germany. I think all four of those actually. I think you can use Cortana on mobile in those four countries: France, Italy, Germany, Spain. It's not really something I focus on, directly. But as I recall, it's more of a limited use. And a kind of a staggered rollout for not staggered for the countries, but as far as features, not all the features get pushed out. Part of it too is the voice recognition, not necessarily just understanding the words in that language, but also whether it is an English like a native speaker or it is someone using a different language to say it's someone who's natively Austrian using, that wouldn't be a good one. Polish, a native Pole using the German language. I don't.
I never really thought about that side. I always thought just localizing commands, as in translating things, and et cetera, et cetera. I never really thought about voice recognition for other accents.
Because it's going to be a very, very poor experience if it doesn't work. If they
that's true.
Don't understand what you're saying.
You want to have an actual good rollout in these other countries.
And I really don't recall any beta or any beta testing of that type of stuff. So I'm not sure how they do that. Unfortunately, I don't live over on that side of the world. And so I maintain this America is everything attitude, and it's really, I apologize
USA.
to the rest of the world.
USA.
Yeah, America. We just kind of think we're on our own over here. But that is kind of the way. It's good that Cortana's coming to those four countries. That's expected. It was expected, and I'm glad it's rolling out.
Yeah, and something worth mentioning, about localizing commands and whatnot is that, according to a commenter on that article last night, it is Cortana, at least on the Xbox One, is still not available in Canada. I would expect her to be on mobile, at least, in Canada, and desktop. But I'm assuming, for localizing commands, they just have to put A before every single option.
Hardy har. Good joke.
Cortana? Hey, it did open
That
it.
sounds Spanish.
Uh, yeah, I was trying to change the voice there so it wouldn't pick it up, but it did. I think it's become a running thing now that every single week I will activate Cortana. Yeah.
I guess that we just need to say, "Hey, virtual assistant."
Yeah. That doesn't have the same ring to it though.
I'm saying but for the show, so we don't
True.
activate her.
Yeah. And so this next one is a big one. And this through a little trick that will let you access apps in the Windows Store that you are not supposed to, which is always fun. You can stream your Xbox One to your Windows 10 mobile phone. And yeah, it's big, really, because this is not an app you are supposed to access, but you can. And this shows that Microsoft has full Xbox One streaming for Windows 10 phones. Question is, will they make it available? And they have yet to officially announce this feature. It's something where or rather, both Nicholas Veal, the person who helped him out, and Mahidi have just used a trick to access the feature. But, just keep in mind that, Mahidi says at least that the feature can be a bit slow on your phone, and that's expected. They've yet to officially announce this to the public. And Microsoft might very well fix the trick, which has been known for a while, keep that in mind, to get this app on your phone. So odds are it might be broken eventually, who knows. Now, to do it, you have to open a specific link on your Windows 10 mobile device. And it should then open the Windows Store, where you'll see an Xbox Dev Mode companion app. And once you see that companion app, in the Windows Store, you need to go to a free app in the store through the search icon. And then, open it from quick suggestions. Once that's opened, click the free button to install the app, but quickly hit the back button on your phone, and the Windows Store should start installing the Xbox Dev Mode companion app. And if that doesn't work, just try it again. Once it's installed, you're good to go. You open it up from all apps, and once opened, the app will let you connect to your Xbox One, similar to the Xbox app on Windows PCs, and your Xbox One should already show up in the search. If it doesn't, you just need to find the console's IP manually and manually enter it in the app, which I believe you can find that console IP in network settings. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't specifically looked around for it, but I'm pretty sure it's in there. Vernon, what do you think?
Say that last part again as far as where you can find it.
You need to go into network settings, I believe, to find your console's IP address.
Under the console itself. I'm sorry. I thought
the reasonable place to find it, I guess. I haven't looked around for it on mine yet, but...
Well, you can also say, hey, virtual assistant Cortana, find my IP.
I wonder if that works. I haven't tried out Cortana on the Xbox One yet.
Maybe not on Xbox.
Yeah. And, yeah.
Okay, well,
it's big news, I guess.
It's huge it's an awesome capability.
Yeah.
I don't know if it will be a very valuable and often used feature. Just seems, I don't want to say clunky, it just seems too unlikely that it'll be used often. What do you what can you envision doing on your mobile? I think it's a case
of where there really isn't too much of a point to it, because if I had, let's just say in theory, if a Windows 10 mobile tablet existed, I don't think one does, don't know if one does. If it did, and it had that app, I would use it. The entire selling point of the Wii U's gimmick was that you could use a tablet to play games on when the TV wasn't active, and I think that Xbox to PC streaming was kind of Microsoft's own take on that idea. To actually have that on a tablet, completely portable, that would be nice. Because with streaming, on a big screen, and on my internet connection at least, you see plenty of artifacts and issues. Having that on a smaller screen, one that isn't too small though, I think a phone might be too small for it, on a slightly smaller screen though, that might work out very well.
Well, let's see what happens. It's there. The capability
Yeah.
is there. Let's see what
I
they
mean,
do with it.
Microsoft's already got it put out and it works, albeit slowly, but there's not too much of a reason to not release it, I don't think. I mean, is there too much reason to release it?
The thing is, if they make a feature public and a few people use it, they're going to have those same few people flip tables or whatever if and when the feature goes away. So whatever they push out, they have to make sure that they're ready to support it for quite some time, even if it will be a meh feature. If it'll be something that very few people will use, they have to be wise about what they select to making public, because it's there forever, or until they extract it from people's cold dead hands. The 7 people that just absolutely love the feature.
Yeah, and once that is extracted, of course, we'll hear the general cries of, "Wow, they should have done this and this and this." So, bit of a bad PR. Which, of course, they do want to avoid that.
Yeah. Next thing I want to talk about, I want to preface this by saying that I continue to have a great experience with the photos on my Windows 10 mobile device, and especially the fact that I can take an image from my work phone, my iPhone, automatically uploads to OneDrive, obviously, and I can set it up that way, and I will view that image right there on my Windows 10 mobile device, or other Windows 10 mobile devices or Windows Phone devices that I capture images with, pop up right in the Photos app on Windows 10 mobile. I love that. It is so useful to me. I use it quite often, and it is, my opinion, better than what Google Drive and Google Photos does, at least from how I've seen that work. And so we're basically getting one more place you could access your photos. Obviously, you could do this all on the web, OneDrive, and eventually, perhaps, hopefully, they better have an actual OneDrive app again for Windows 10. Can't wait for that to happen. Mm-hmm. But now you could access your photos on Xbox. And Andy wrote up this article, which is really
actually, you
can't
access your photos on the Xbox yet. Well, the thing is, if they're on OneDrive, you can already access them. Because, this app is kind of redundant. OneDrive already has a universal Windows 10 app, although not on the Xbox. I think that if they were to release a universal app for the sake of viewing photos, which the Xbox OneDrive app is all about photos. I don't think you're able to even open up text documents there. It is photos, it is video, it's all about that. And so, the Photos app does have albums, automatically generated albums of photos and stuff. It's also got the ability, I would assume, to view locally stored photos, but the thing is, the Xbox One, the locally stored photos would likely just be game screenshots, and there's already a built-in user interface integrated with the operating system to handle that. And just seems kind of redundant, but at the same time, when I think about it, it's a case where they could add extra features to it just for the Xbox. That could be cool. They could also replace the stuff that's already in there with the Photos app. And you could... let me get my words together here. They could do something special with it. They could replace old stuff with it. Or whatever. I don't know. It's also something that I don't know. I don't really think it would take too many resources to port over either, since it's universal. Might just be a thing to show what they can do.
I suppose. Yeah. I don't know. In reference to the OneDrive app, I mean, the app that existed with Windows 8 just, I don't know what it was. It just worked better. I just felt so much more confident with that when they pulled it. They just kind of went bleh, and maybe I was just turned off to it. I haven't really used the new OneDrive app that much, but I'm just, maybe that's why I forgot about it, actually. So, all right, what's next here? I'm talking about Windows 10, I mean. So there's this new event coming up here, App Dev on Xbox event. It's going to be August 30th. Wow, that's just a couple days away here, a few days away.
Yeah, just 4 days. And it's going to be at 9 a.m. Pacific time that day, and will be a live online event. So, yeah.
What else? Like, are you going to be around? Are you going to be able to watch this thing? Is this, you really excited for this? Is this like,
I'm
well,
not a
yeah,
developer,
more
so
devs,
I'm not really
more dev
excited.
stuff.
Although, if you are a developer looking to bring your Universal app to the Xbox One, and if you have some questions, this is the place to ask them. There's going to be an open Q&A session. It's going to cover a couple of topics like the Anniversary Update SDK and getting started with app development on the Xbox One, as well as, they say, diving deep into developing apps using both XAML and web technologies. I just want to take a note and say that XAML is probably my favorite Microsoft thing to say aloud.
It's kind of a cool word, huh?
Yeah. And
XML.
Yeah. Anyways, it also has guidance for designing and creating impressive TV experiences and submitting your apps via the Dev Center to all UWP devices, including the Xbox. So that's nifty. Particularly interesting should be the designing and creating impressive TV experiences bit. Because looking at some of even Microsoft's own Universal apps on the Xbox One, I see kind of iffy 10-foot UI, which, for those who don't know, 10-foot is the term to, you see it 10 feet away. It's the big user interfaces, etc., that you would see on your TV. And I feel that stuff like some of these Universal apps are a bit too close to their PC counterpart. They don't work poorly, but they feel like they weren't designed for an Xbox controller, which they weren't. So that's something that I think even Microsoft themselves should kind of focus on working on. But maybe it's a bit more on the app teams than Microsoft themselves, but you get the idea.
I think it's something they'll continue to get better at. It's just that there's not as many people don't think of the Xbox apps necessarily when they think of the Universal Windows platform.
Yeah, and I think that's something Microsoft does want to change, as they want Microsoft. It's that Xbox Mini didn't show up at a E3 like all the rumors said it would, and I'm pretty sure it does exist. And thing is, its entire point would probably be to run UWP apps, so of course they would hold it off until a later date when the Xbox actually had some UWP apps available. I'd say maybe even next E3 it might be a good idea to show it off alongside maybe Scorpio. And just have a nice little UWP box, similar to how there's plenty of Android TVs that just run Android apps. And I think that's kind of where Microsoft's going with all this.
Perhaps. It could be. So Halo's a big deal, right? Halo
Yes,
Online multiplayer, we've been doing that for a while. There's also a Halo Online multiplayer PC game, which was planned and basically ended. What's the deal with what more do we need to know about this?
Halo Online was a Russian exclusive online multiplayer game that was completely free, full of microtransactions, and generally seen as a disappointment aside from the fact that it was Halo 3 multiplayer on PC. And just as a side note before getting into the meat of this story, its cancellation isn't too much of a big deal, as the most of us aren't in Russia, and modders have hacked apart the Russian version and made it available to the rest of the world without any need to spend money on it, turning it into essentially just free Halo 3 Online. Which, not going to advocate piracy or whatever, although who knows if you'd even classify this as that, as it's a fan modification that Microsoft could have taken down at any time, but they chose not to, so who knows. I mean, it's a modification of something that was free, so I don't know. Yeah. But anyways, last year this was announced by 343 Industries alongside Saber Interactive and Innova Systems, and that was Halo Online, a completely new free Halo multiplayer PC experience for Russia only. And it was powered by a modified version of the Halo 3 engine. And correct me if I'm wrong, someone. I said that a couple times in this podcast, but I do remember seeing screenshots of leaked builds of this that used the Halo 3 menu, and Halo 3 originally was going to come to PC like Halo 1 and 2. There were Steam depots for Halo 3, although they were closed up years ago and made private. They were never available to the public, but, it's proof that it was going to happen at one point, so this might be built off the ruins of that project. And so it was optimized for smooth performance on lower-end PCs, and it was on closed beta until now and supposed to be launched sometime this year. However, it's been announced that the project has been canceled. And they say that over the past 6 months, our colleagues from Microsoft failed to make decisions on the future of the project. Now we know only one thing: the current form of the game will not be released. A Microsoft spokesperson provided the following statement regarding the cancellation. The Halo Online closed beta test represented a great opportunity for us to learn how to deliver a great Halo experience to PC players. We recently concluded the closed beta and are grateful to all the players who participated in Russia. We look forward to applying the beta learnings to future Halo PC experiences, which, Halo 5, to go into another story, kind of segue here, Halo 5 is getting a PC version in a way. It's not only multiplayer only, similar to this, but it will only be on maps you create, and it's called Halo 5 Forge. The Forge system has been available in Halo for a while now, and now Forge is finally coming to PC. I feel like this thing being canceled is tied to them announcing the date for the PC version, which will be in the Windows Store on September 8th, and it features keyboard and mouse support, increased resolution, which supports up to 4K, and will let you test and play maps with friends. So technically, that's, being able to play multiplayer online on your PC with just your friends on your own maps. So you're still going to have to buy Halo 5 for the full Halo 5 experience, but it's nice. I see that, I would assume it's some kind of test they're doing, to learn how to have the best experience with this. And, you'll build your maps on the Xbox One. Build your apps on Windows 10 PCs and publish to the Xbox One so that you can then play it on console with everyone else. And this
nice.
They're also going to release new content for Halo 5 titled Anvil's Legacy, which is tied to this Forge stuff. It brings in a content browser that lets you find these Forge maps, brings in new maps for it, excuse me, as well as new weapons, REQ packs, customization options, and more, blah, blah, blah. There's some pretty nice stuff in there. Whew. And I think this will be our final topic up next. And do you want to go for it, Vernon?
Yeah. Firefox. A lot of people use Firefox. And OneNote. Many people use OneNote, of course. And the web Clipper extension is awesome. Use it for a lot of things. It's great in many ways. And that extension is now available for Firefox. It's only available for Firefox version 48 or higher, which keep your systems up to date, people. This shouldn't be a problem. And of course, it's works like it does on Edge and Chrome. And in the words of whoever, I don't know who wrote this actually.
I think it would be Pradeep.
Okay,
basically,
right. Web Clipper allows users to easily capture, edit, annotate, and share information, which is exactly what you want to do if you're dealing with OneNote and all that. So.
Yeah, I'm someone who uses both OneNote and Firefox, and I've never used the Web Clipper extension, actually. I've mostly used OneNote for the podcast stuff, so I'm not really clipping articles that much, other than just, Control-C, Control-V. But maybe I'll try it out.
And I more often use the send to OneNote, but that is still, when I'm on the desktop, 2 monitors, pretty much the only time I'm here at home on my PC is preparing for the show. That is, Control-C, Control-V works just fine with the Alt tab in there. So, that's.
I maybe we can stick one more in because we're at 49 minutes.
If you got something else to share, yeah.
Actually, this final one also browser related and also kind of related to Firefox, although the article doesn't say it. Let me put this in the notes here so you can see it. You might have to clear your cookies to view Microsoft links on Google Chrome, although this isn't a Google specific issue because I have had this on Firefox for months, and while I'm not about to clear my cookies, I would expect those to fix it. Like, what happens if I open I'm going to open a private window and go to Microsoft.com and see if that works. Yeah, Microsoft.com.
It's really interesting how when there's something between Microsoft and Google that doesn't work, a link that is broken or that's broadly used term, not specifically a link, but like it's something that just doesn't work because a Microsoft service on Chrome and back and forth, whatever. People get angry. They assume that there is malicious intent from one side to the other. And being a Microsoft fan and knowing a lot of Microsoft fans, it is often people say, "Oh, Google is out to get Microsoft." Well, you know what? They are, but maybe not in that way. Google and Microsoft are competitors, and sometimes it's in their best interest for things not to work together. They're going for a better user experience in ecosystem, not cross ecosystem. So we understand that, but sometimes it's just the architecture of the technology that is not.
I just want to interject and say that this I can confirm that this trick works on Firefox as well because I opened up a private window, which of course no cookies there. I managed to load all the Microsoft links I couldn't load up on normal browsing with all my cookies there. So this isn't exclusive to Chrome. This is a Firefox issue as well. The only place I have not had this issue has been Edge, which you would kind of expect. And I wonder why this is happening in the first place. I think it might be... I'd say it's on Microsoft's end, but if I haven't experienced this with Edge, then who knows?
I don't have further insight on that. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, but anyway, so, this is something that's been kind of widespread, I guess, because apparently even Paul Thurrott, Thurrott, okay. I hate saying people's last names wrong. But anyways, he ran into this issue with Chrome, and it just said the site can't be reached. And I've had a variety of issues on Firefox with it. It would either say this site can't be reached, the server timed out, etc., or sometimes it would just display a white page. Like, it wouldn't even attempt to load. It would just be blank, or the link would act like it did nothing. It's bizarre. And I kind of hope that this... I don't hope for an issue to become widespread, but I hope it becomes known enough that maybe Microsoft could do something about this, if it is on their side.
There's got to be something. There most certainly must be something they can do about it. Whatever. So, well, that about wraps it up, I think. Let's finish off here.
Yes, let's just finish off with saying, I'd like to thank the people who stuck around with the live stream, even despite our technical issues and all that. I think we're of course going to probably just go back to the regular format next week. Although maybe in the future we'll try it out on Beam if it allows us to try this.
Yeah, to be clear, eventually I would love to get back to a live video show, not just because people want to see our faces, which is pure sarcasm, but also mostly because, almost exclusively because I love the value I get from a chat, people in the chat, folks in the chat contributing to the show, quite literally answering our questions at times. And it's a little bit more of a community, and so I love that part of it.
It's this feeling of not just community, but feeling of working together.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much more content, knowledge out there. We can't all. Andy and I obviously don't have it all, and so we're just kind of the facilitators of this. Just talking about all the great information that was shared at MSPoweruser.com. Obviously, go there. Everything we're talking about, you could read about more deeply on the site. So do that, of course. if you've listened to the show, which obviously you have, thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks so much, especially those that might have watched the show live on YouTube. Or thank you for that. You contributed to the chat. Thanks again. You can follow MSPoweruser on Twitter at MSPoweruser. And, of course, we'll tweet out when the new podcast episode is available. It's there. Of course, there's plenty of other awesome stuff to links to follow from the Twitter handle. Of course, Twitter account. You can follow us individually on Twitter. Andy is at FusionFan45. I'm on Twitter at VernonEL. And, of course, be sure to subscribe to the podcast in your favorite podcast app on your mobile device. Andy, any closing thoughts here, buddy? That's about it for the show.
Final thoughts. Well, other than I hope everybody has a great week, I hope we never have to use Google Hangouts again.
Fair enough. And to be fair, they've had some pretty poor times. They've also gotten a bit better in some ways. And I'm sure we will probably try Hangouts on Air or YouTube Live again.
Yeah, because they're actually going to replace Hangouts on Air for consumers, which I guess is technically us, with YouTube Live. Which I don't really know how much it differs, other than I'm expecting it to be even harder to set up and get working.
Yeah, but that's it, everyone. Have a great week. Take care.